top 5%, who cares? Honestly, that person that launches the podcast today and has 0 listeners, what they say and what they explore through their voice matters just as much as what I'm doing.
Your main publication that you have is called #impact. How do you even think about creating content that has impact?
What does impact even mean? They are curious enough to be willing to get uncomfortable. Self-doubt, imposter syndrome, wondering if their voice matters. Those are my topics too.
Do you think there is still a place for audio podcasts where we are now?
What I am so certain of is that
Most creators feel the pressure to show up with video, but for Regina, audio was never second best. It was sacred. She built a top 5% podcast by creating a space where voices matter more than appearances. In this episode, we unpack why audio still matters, how you can have impact with your content, and how Regina turned a quiet show into a powerful platform. Your main publication that you have is called #impact, which is one of the few podcasts that actually reaches people. You're in the top 5% of podcasts worldwide. You started 2016, 2017, way before the YouTubeification of podcasts started. And I feel like from the way I know you, you're very much like an audio person, and podcasts are an RSS feed that is on your ears, and it's your happy time.
that's my happy place.
Well, I'm coming at it more from a video perspective, and I do see a lot of conversation, and I kind of have to say a lot of pressure to make every podcast a video podcast. How do you feel about it? What is your perspective on this shift that is happening?
I got so emotional about it a while back when the discussions became really, they were just all over my feed. I think that's what made me so emotional about it. Also from people that I've been following in the industry that I look up to. And all of a sudden the conversation shifted so much on video. And the thing that got me emotional about it was that pressure around what I heard a lot of people also within my community raise, that they felt there is now that necessity and that you have to do video to be legitimate and to move forward. And as I see my community that is made up by a high percentage of women, there is something about audio that also creates a lot of safety, especially for women that want to get on a stage, create a stage for themselves, but still don't want to be just reduced on, how's my hair look today? Valentin, how's my hair look today? Yeah, like it's just a reality that women just face in a different way, to be often reduced to what we look like, what we wear. Do we wear lipstick or not? Why are we sitting in a certain position? Body, like body language, right? That's the part that made me very upset about it, because I felt it's almost like you're taking something away from, and now I say us because I also mean me, don't take that away from a group of people that feels also don't maybe have all the, let me look at all the angles here. Yeah. That also don't maybe have the budget to set it up in that way. And I've spent a lot of time then talking about it because I felt my community also needs to hear me say it, that do video if you feel comfortable with it. Don't do it when you don't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And make it your decision, but don't let an algorithm dictate that. Don't let anyone tell you you're not legit if you're not now starting a YouTube channel or adding your podcast as a video cast as well, right?
Yeah.
So do you, do what feels good for you. And for me, just putting it on the record as well, maybe there will even be a video podcast with me at some point when I want to do it. But then I'm going to be the one calling the shots.
It is so true. There's so many more layers to creating a video podcast and creating a good video podcast, which, by the way, does not have to mean good video quality. Like there are some podcasts with an incredible reach that are literally just Zoom recordings. So it doesn't have to be technically perfect and all those things. But there is a beautiful simplicity to just audio podcasts. When I first started a podcast in also 2017-ish, when I moved from New York to Vienna, I literally just sat down with a friend, put my phone in the middle of the table, and we had a conversation. And that was a podcast. I have no idea how many people listened to it or if it had any kind of impact. But it helped me transition from freelancing in New York to being back in Vienna and figuring out life here.
You said something important here. Can I jump in here? Because that's what I also feel is in the discussion. And that's where I also then shifted again. Because I think the time that I had spent also on talking about video podcasting or not, who cares, right? In the end, who cares? Make a decision, do it. Let's stop talking about it. Some do video, some don't. Why are we still talking about it so much? But what you said there, that podcast was also, that you created at that moment, was something where you were in a transition, in that liminal space of figuring yourself out. And I think that's also the power of the medium. And it happened to me, and I see it for so many of my community members. It starts as that creative project, and it doesn't even need to be a podcast. It could also be an interview series or a book project, or you're doing art. You're creating something, right? Creator.
Yes.
Yeah. You are creating something that with your own ideas, you're filling it with life, and that opens up a space for you to learn something about yourself, connect, bring people in your life that resonate with that and that give you input on that. And then it takes off to other places. So it's really just a vessel, right? For you to shape in a way your own journey, your professional journey, also in a way that you own it. You make it yours.
That is something that is a topic that I keep thinking about, that I keep coming back to. This challenge of having this drive to create something without it being immediately measured. Because, I'm aging myself here, but I grew up without the internet, right? I grew up...
Me too. Let's age us, Valentin.
I grew up when MTV was cool, and that's
so
what you
cool.
listened to because MTV was playing it, right? And especially in the context of music, I feel like everybody had a band at some point, and you just go play in somebody's basement and you have fun. You create a mixtape or whatever, and if one other friend listened to it and gave you a thumbs up, it was like that was all the validation you needed.
Yeah.
And now, with all the platforms giving you all this data, it's just like, 10 people watched this.
And then you make it mean something, right?
Yeah.
That's so, in a way, that's really, really sad.
Yeah.
One of my slogans I put on my social media is also like podcast like no one's listening.
Yeah.
Like dance like no one's watching. Like do it for you first. Yeah. And I know of course, look at your audience. You want to build something. You want to make this valuable for your audience as well. But make it valuable for yourself. I mean, you're spending the time on it. So allow yourself to have some fun with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting out, make it for yourself.
Yeah.
That is... Yes, probably the best advice. To bring it back and to get like one clear perspective from you there, do you think there is still a place for audio podcasts where we are now?
Yes. Oh my gosh, of course. That is that one thing. There are many things I'm not certain of. No one can be. Yeah. But that whatever shape or form it will take, however it will look, what will that tool and platform look like? I have no idea. Please head over to Pod News. Can I plug the amazing James Gridland. James, please check out Valentin as well. He's amazing. James, please do it. Because they will know, watch the industry and they will tell you all about the tech, the data. They do all the research. I have no clue how it will look like. But what I am so certain of is that the power of listening and audio is one that eternity, it's human nature, because it is human nature. We want to understand by hearing stories, hearing voices. That's how we are coming into this world. We are hearing sounds in the womb. We're not seeing anything, but that's the first way we start experiencing our existence, really. So that it's not going anywhere.
One of the few childhood memories I still have.
Tell me.
Is listening to audiobooks, right? To the
Knickabockerbande
and stuff.
You know what? I was just actually, okay, now we're off that. You probably have to edit out.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about Knickabockerbande. Of course, we grew up with that, right?
Yeah.
We were reenacting it. I was Lilo. Who were you? When I was with my cousins
names,
play.
Actually, but I just remember the moment of sitting there and listening to it.
Yeah. And I was wondering, like, these books, I guess I still find them somewhere, but I was wondering, like, that magic of listening. Same here.
Yeah, and then you create the images in your head, right?
Yeah.
Right? Which is, my favorite activity, coming up with stuff in my brain.
Yes.
Yeah. So if somebody is listening to this, watching this, who is on the fence, who has thought about starting their first creative project, but just hasn't taken that first step, what would you tell them?
I always want to say something super meaningful and deep, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the smallest step is actually the most powerful thing, yeah. What's that little tiny step you could do, like today, to move towards it? Not big, tiny, something tiny. What you could do. For some, it is, buying that notebook, a new, fresh notebook where they decide this is where I'm going to collect my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
For others, it's, I don't know, maybe even talking to someone. I think that often helps, who they maybe look up to a bit. Or in a circle of friends, look around people in your group of friends even, where you feel they inspire you, and hear a bit about their journey. Or there's probably a podcast out there. Just put in that topic that you would like to create on, that you are passionate about, and hear someone else's story on how they got started. Because often it's not glamorous, and it's messy, and it really often starts with that tiny moment and that thought in your head. For me, it was that way. Could I do this?
Mm-hmm.
And getting really curious about that voice, that whisper in your head, right? Could I? Should I? Allow myself to just try? I think you should.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with recording something or sketching something without publishing it.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be public all the time.
No.
And so aside from that, do you see any other challenges that people face or that stops people from putting themselves out there, from creating the show that they want to create?
The biggest one, I think, is self-doubt, imposter syndrome, wondering if their voice matters, if it matters enough,
Mm-hmm.
thinking there are already so many other people out there maybe talking about that topic, and they don't really feel that their angle or their perspective is enough or has a place in this space. And the funny thing is, those are my topics too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's my journey too. It's my challenges that are making me very empathetic, when I understand, like, I know how that feels. And I also know that it's human, no? Why should we feel any other way? Why should this be easy? Mm-hmm. So I think I got better at it, to have my way of seeing the world and approaching creating and creativity, and always reminding myself that there's value there, how I see the world. And it's okay that not everyone sees it the way I do. It's good. I think that's the power of creating. That's a gift that you're giving yourself as well with every conversation you're doing. And you're doing a brilliant job, Valentin.
Thank you.
Can I also just put that on the record? Yeah, don't edit that part out. Yeah,
I'll use it in the trailer.
Use it in the trailer. Yeah, because I think there's something about how you go into conversations as well. The ones that are recorded and the ones that aren't. The ones we had off the record when we were standing at that event. We're talking without anyone else listening. And that's also the power you bring to your community that you are building.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And that's a great bridge to how do you even think about creating content that has impact?
I love this question because I would probably answer it differently now than I would have when I first started out in 2016. I used to think it's all about, the topics that I address, because I feel there are a lot of topics that don't get the coverage that they deserve when it comes to how can we create positive change in the world. Nowadays, it has evolved a lot into looking at the inner development as well of people that drive positive change in the world, because I grew up a little bit over the years as well. And I've just gotten more curious about that aspect of it, right? Like, what does impact even mean? It's a very philosophical question, actually. Yes. And it can mean something different to me today than it does tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a very frequent topic of conversations between creators. What does impact mean? How do you measure impact? We're so inundated with numbers and stats, and like everything has a value attached to it. But then when you get one message of like, hey, what you said in that podcast or the video that you made really made me think about something differently, it like gives me a reason to create more of what I do. But I don't know, do you have any thoughts on how to measure impact beyond metrics and charts and all those things? Like, what are the things that you're looking for when you publish?
It's what you said, like those moments when you get that direct feedback from someone, and it's oftentimes most precious when it does happen in person, but it happens also in very, tiny moments sometimes. When I get a message from a person that I connected with years and years ago when I was still living in Hong Kong. And although I don't hear from her all the time, she has been listening quietly, right, to my podcast for all those years. And there was something that resonated with her in that workshop that we did so many years back that she remembers today, years after. And now she sends me this message saying, Regina, I found that voice note on my phone that you inspired me to record 5 years ago when I was in that workshop of yours. And I listened to it today and it meant something to me. And that is, you can't measure that with a download, Top 5%, who cares? Honestly, right? Of course, I want to, you say top 5%, sounds great, right? But I think I want to be top 1%, right? Because we're human and we always want to improve, right? But in the end, that is just a number, and it actually doesn't matter at all. Like that person that launches the podcast today and has 0 listeners or 1, what they say and what they explore through their voice matters just as much as what I'm doing. It matters just as much as what that YouTuber does that you maybe look up to in this moment most.
Fully agree. And that's a whole nother side to what you do, is you don't just like have your own publications and reach people by that way, but you also teach and have workshops and connect with people that way, and probably see a lot of people who want to start podcasts or reach people in some shape or form. Do you see any qualities in people? Like, what makes a creator that can have impact?
They are curious people. Like, they really want to get curious about themselves as well. They want to learn something. They want to explore. They are learning how to get uncomfortable.
Interesting.
Because it is uncomfortable when you're doing something for the first time and you haven't done it before. And they are curious enough to be willing to get uncomfortable for a while until they get comfortable with actually doing it. And that's where the magic happens, right? It's that uncomfort that you are, like, you're stretching your comfort zone a bit. And you are learning to let go of these expectations, all that perfectionism, all that editing, making everything polished, and learning how to show up and sometimes try things that completely fail as well, right? You have to have those recordings where you forget to press record. You have to have a guest that is just where you feel like, oh my goodness, I can't publish that. What am I going to do about this now? You're going to have these hard, uncomfortable situations that you kind of put yourself into and then endure it.
I don't think I've ever thought about it that way, but it is so true. You have to enjoy those moments of uncomfortability. And one sentence that helped me early on, in especially situations where you forget to press record or something didn't work out, it's always easy the second time around. Because I used to get worked up when something didn't work out or whatever, and just like, yeah, but if I do it another time, I'm going to be faster, it's going to be easier, and it's going to be better. So, like, working through those moments has been, really helpful. It is what makes you grow. And so with where you are now, with the people that you reach with your shows, with being a parent, what does success look like to you? What is your version of that?
I was pondering a lot lately, actually. I don't know what brought it up. Maybe it's the constellation of the stars right now that make me feel a bit more philosophical lately. Like, really just, what does that look like for me? And I really recently feel that it's not the bigger number, actually. It's not the top 1%. It's not the top 0.1% of all podcasts globally. It's not making the community bigger and yet another member. It's actually going deeper and not broader, but actually going deeper with the people I already do have in my space and with myself as well.
That was maybe the lesson I needed to hear right now, of going deeper with the community instead of broader, because that's a challenge I've been facing a little bit lately. Now, if people want to know more about you, what's the best way to reach you? How can people stay in your orbit?
Best to just come visit me at reginalarko.com. Let me know that you coming from Valentine's world. So then every time someone connects with me, I will let you know as well. Very grateful for you inviting me on your platform as well. I appreciate that.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
This was a beautiful conversation.